I'm gonna have to make a disclaimer because the topic of this video might be, taken in a negative way. Okay. So what I'm about to discuss should not be taken in a negative way. You shouldn't be sad. You shouldn't be, down on yourself. You shouldn't be depressed because, you know, not everything that seems or sounds to be on the negative side is actually negative in of itself. Okay, it all I guess it all depends on perspective and perception. The title of this video is "You Will Disappear." Okay, and on first glance, it might sound, of course, pretty negative, pretty off-putting. We will all disappear one day, some sooner, some later, and I guess when you consider and contemplate your mortality, on the rare occasions that you do, you tend to lean towards the negative. You tend to be sad, depressed. You tend to mope around. You tend to be a bit flaccid, right? But I'm here making this video in the hope that maybe people will, get some sort of, I don't know, relief, because, listen, I've been miserable for a lot of years, and I had time to, meditate and all of the silly mistakes that I've made along the way. And of course, one major mistake was that I I just moped around and I took everything in a negative light. I just was down on myself all the time, because life wasn't fair and what have you, all of the normal things that we experience, and I took everything in a negative way. And of course, my mortality too, So this is how I view it. This is what, changed my life for the better. My lifestyle, my mindset, everything shifted 1000% to the opposite. Okay. To me, accepting the notion that I will disappear one day completely, it's a plus. It's a bonus. It's a positive thing. Okay. And this is not sarcasm or irony either. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you're younger and you are going through, a rough patch. Maybe you're older and you have regrets. You think that your life isn't going anywhere. You think that you've made too many mistakes. You think that you're a failure. And you can't stop criticizing yourself. Okay? Self-criticism is good, but I don't think it should just be, you attacking yourself. We should learn from criticism, right? So this is my story. When I was younger, this is exactly how I felt. I felt like a loser. I felt like a failure. I felt like something was wrong with me. Like I wasn't proper. I wasn't adequate. I failed every step, and it was so excruciating because for me, all of these simple, normal steps in life were just so hard, so difficult, whereas for other people around me, it was just so easy, right? So, of course, this added to my suffering. And, of course, I kept wondering why I was so flawed. And depression came in, and I was just down on myself, and of course, even suicidal, right? So this is the simple philosophy of the matter, okay? That self-criticism is good. You should You should analyze yourself. You should criticize yourself. But you should not constantly, whip yourself. You shouldn't just badmouth yourself constantly. It's not good for your mental health, right? Regrets are like dead weight. Regrets are like poison. They just weigh you down. They just hurt you. Okay? Maybe you said something goofy in a group and you just can't get over it. Maybe you stuttered, or maybe you did something goofy and everybody was laughing at you. Whatever. Okay? Maybe you're not respected in society or in your community or at your work, right? Etc., etc. And these things, they keep just eating at you. They just keep hurting you. You become hollow. And of course you target your hatred at yourself, right? Because you think there's something wrong with you. Okay? So this is how I learned to just escape this, endless cycle of just with regrets and being sad all the time and just viewing myself as nothing at all, as trash, as garbage, And this is a sort of enlightenment. Okay. You can call it wisdom. You can call it knowledge, but this is the simple truth. When you realize that all of us will disappear one day. You will disappear one day. Everything that you did will be erased. Everybody that you had contact with will be erased. Everybody will go away. Everything will be forgotten. Not even the dust will settle. Even the dust, in time, will vanish. Okay? And this is not, some people might take this as, extremely a negative type of thinking, but I don't think so. It all depends on the person, how you take it, okay? Because most people, if you tell them this, they will just, they will react with anger or they'll be sad. There's nothing to be sad about, okay? Sadness, being sad about this is, of course, the natural first reaction. But you have to move on and, accept it and deal with it. Okay? So this is how you stop agonizing about all of these regrets. And this is how you stop being sad all the time. Okay? Embracing the fact that everything will disappear. You will disappear. Your loved ones will disappear. Your enemies will disappear. Okay? All of the experiences, good or bad, all of them will simply be forgotten and they will not exist. Okay? And I think that is extremely, extremely empowering. Okay? It should be. To me, at least, for me, it worked out, in a marvelous way. When I realized that all of the bad stuff and all of the good stuff and every experience and every interaction and everything that I went through, that one day it would all stop, it will all cease, and it will be as if it never happened. And after I'm gone, it will be as if I never even existed to begin with. And I think that's a great thing, okay? Because once you understand that, if you apply it correctly, you can move on and live a decent life without, being miserable all the time, Because listen, I was like you when I was way younger. I was so self-conscious, I was so awkward. And because of these flaws, I wasn't kind to myself. I was very harsh to myself. And for years, I just wallowed in, misery and self-hate and all of that stuff. And it wasn't good for me, okay? Because I thought, even after, even after years later, there would be nights when I was thinking, oh, remember that moment when I just made a fool of myself and everybody laughed and etc., and it would eat me, okay? Like a poison, like a corrosive, right? All the failures in life, people just can't get over them because they think that those were crucial moments in their lives, and they think that because they failed then, it's all over. They're no good, right? It isn't so. Take your failures and move on, right? Because it doesn't really matter. You tried, you failed. Sometimes you try and sometimes you succeed. This is how life works, okay? Understanding that you will disappear one day can be so liberating. And this is not saying that you should adopt this silly philosophy that, life is a video game and I'm going to just do whatever I want. No, that's psychopathic. Okay, I'm talking about being enlightened here. Knowing that nothing really matters. You can save up your energy. Because you accept the fact, the truth that everything will disappear and nothing really matters. It should elevate you. Your inner world should improve dramatically. Your mental health should, dissipate instead of escalate. Okay? To me, this is medicine. To me, this is the remedy, the only remedy to all of our woes here. All right? Because people keep on chasing all of these thrills, and they take everything so seriously. This is the problem. Every little thing, okay, in every little interaction, people just take it so seriously because they think this is it, that this matters. Somebody gave me a weird look. Somebody said something that could be interpreted as making fun of me, and they go home and they keep on, thinking about this like some paranoid, and it just boils up, and it's like a poison. It will multiply. It will spread throughout your body, throughout your soul, and it will just, it will consume you. This is what happens for most people. This is what happened to me a long time ago, right? Because I thought everything was so important, so significant, right? All the events, all the experiences, good and bad, just live your life and, deal with, these little, obstacles. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be taken so, people shouldn't react so over emotionally, right? So dramatically. When you understand that life is a joke, and it's meaningless, pointless, and that you will disappear, regardless if you have a wonderful life or not so wonderful. It's relaxing. It chills you out. You become a bit more, you become relaxed. This is how it should be. Okay. Everybody has this mentality that because, all of us have an expiration date, or we gotta get out there and live every second and make it count, and every thrill and experience everything. And oh boy, I mean, that smells like desperation to me. That smells like you trying to hide the fact that, death is always close, always around the corner. So you have to distract yourself with all of this activity, right? This energy consuming activities. I mean, if that's what you want, everybody is entitled to live their lives how they want, but, I don't fret. I have no dread, no existential fears whatsoever. Not anymore. I used to, right? When you really look at your life, okay, we're being real now. We speak the truth. Everybody thinks that their life is so precious, so, irreplaceable, so irresistible, so special, unique, right? But if you really inspect and analyze your own life, like I have, you realize that for the most part, it isn't so. Okay, we're trying to be mature here and be honest. Okay, sincerity is key. When you really look at your life, you can see that 95% of the time your life is boring, just like everybody else's life. Okay, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Okay, you shouldn't be you shouldn't take drastic measures and be, hyperactive because you have to do something and live your life because you're missing out. You're missing out on nothing. Okay? So it is actually fear that pushes people to engage in all of these activities, traveling, going there, doing this. Oh boy, appointments, schedules, People do all sorts of things on their vacations. Whenever I take my vacation, my colleagues ask me, so what are you going to do? You're going to travel, you're going to go to the beach. I'm like, for the first 2 weeks, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to hibernate. I'm going to be in a constant coma. Okay, that's what I tell them. I'm going to sleep. And when I can't come back to work, they ask me, so what did you do on your vacation? I'm going to respond. I slept. I hibernated. And it was fantastic. And they're just looking at me like, huh? Okay, because I have discovered a true healing factor, which is, being chill and sleeping. This is the cure. This is the remedy. Okay. And I don't even think of the fact that one day I'm not going to be around here anymore. I don't care. Okay. Doesn't bother me that one day I'm going to expire, that one day I will not breathe anymore. It's simple. When I was younger, this used to frighten me terribly, obsessively. And of course, I also had these regrets that I wasn't living, my life to the fullest. And it was just a recipe for disaster, right? Because I thought I was just so special, and I was, I thought, I have to do this. I have to meet with these people. I have to make these appointments. I have to go there. I have to talk to those people. I have to interact. I have to socialize. I have to go to this party. I have to go to that festival. And even though I did some of those things, and even though I had a few successes in my life, at the end of the day, just like with any sort of, good feeling, it passed away quite quickly, and I was already stuck, craving something else, And I think this is the key here, is that people, because we all have an expiration date, people assume, allege, suppose that if they are constantly, fretting about, hyperactive, busy bees, they don't have time to fart. Okay. That's how active and busy they are. They think that they're living life to the fullest. They think that they are being fulfilled, or they think that they are fulfilling something. They think that they're following some sort of parameter or policy. I don't know. Okay. It didn't work for me. Okay. At the end of the day, what really helped me, what really healed me was the acceptance, the embrace. I embraced the undeniable fact that one day I'm gonna die, and it won't matter, and I will disappear, and it will be as if I never was here. When I accepted that, I just, I was uplifted in a way, Again, this is not negative. This is actually quite positive. Okay? It is a good thing. Okay? Because, listen, this is just my theory, but this is what I believe happens at the right at the precise moment when people die. If their death isn't instant, I think that people, while they are dying, they have, a great realization. I think when people are dying, they realize that life was a joke. People realize that they wasted their time on nothing in particular. They realize that everything was meaningless, pointless. And they have regrets, but then they realize that even those regrets are just a waste of time. I think this is what happens when we die. This is the great realization upon death. That we'll realize that everything in life, in our life, and life in general, is just a big distraction, a big diversion, right? This is just my theory, okay? So I suppose if you accept this truth while you're still alive and relatively young, I guess, I think it can be beneficial, okay? As it has been beneficial for me, right? And it reduces the ego. It kind of eliminates narcissism and narcissistic tendencies, and it's just, this is the key here. Maybe I'm not expressing myself, properly or simple enough, but this is it. When you realize that, and listen, I have to make this disclaimer again. This is not, this video and this topic, they are not here. I'm not making this for you to be sad, for you to be depressed, for you to, spiral out of control and mope around. This should uplift people. This video, this topic, should uplift people if you perceive it in the right way. Your perception and perspective are key, okay? So this is it. When you realize that nothing really matters, everything is a joke, everything is empty, when you realize that you will die and you will disappear and you will be forgotten, this should empower you. This should help you mature faster. This should shape you in a better person. This should strengthen you against, all of the mundane fears and existential, nightmares and what have you. This is what should happen to you. Okay, after you go through, the expected, terror and horror, after you've passed through the crying and the, oh boy, what's, because nobody, after you've passed all of that, I think that it should, free you. It should liberate you. And it should calm you down, and you should just live your life with the good and the bad, because this is what happens in life. You get some good, you get a lot of bad, and then we die. Okay, so why are you so fretting all the time? Why are you so anxious all the time? You see, I do a lot of research. I study the online sphere, and I keep stumbling upon these videos with adults, younger than me, older than me, and they're just lost. They're miserable. They're sad. They're depressed. They haven't found their place in life. They're not at peace, okay, with themselves and with the world. They're anxious. They're, they don't know who they are. They don't know what the hell they're gonna do in life, even though they're like 40 or 50 years old. And there's so much just, unnecessary suffering. This is the point, where there's just so much unnecessary suffering because people think that they're wasting their lives. People think that they're missing out on something quintessential. It isn't so, folks. Let me tell you, after you've lived a while and after you've experienced the the mundane essentials of life, the usual, you grow up, you go to school, you have relationships, you graduate, you get a job, you make some money, you lose some money, you make friends, you lose friends. Relationships don't end well. Sometimes they do. The usual. After you've lived for a decent amount of time, I mean, you should chill out. You shouldn't just be so gung-ho about everything because you think that you're missing out and you think that you're not proper like the rest of the world, like the rest of humanity. It isn't so. You need to calm down. Okay? It isn't the end of the world. Listen, this is facts. What you have been through. Listen, and I'm not trying to belittle or lower the impact of your experiences, whether they are good or bad. But this is another, great realization. When you realize that what you've been through, good and bad, when you realize that others have gone through the same thing, but on a much greater level, like people have gone through agonies and atrocities that you can't even fathom, okay? And again, I'm not trying to belittle your experiences, but you have to realize that there have been oceans and generations of people that have gone through hell on earth that we haven't experienced not even 0.1% of, okay? And those people who have suffered unimaginable stuff, they died. They went away. They disappeared, and it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. No matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter. They vanished. Their names are barely remembered. Maybe some of their names, but not all of them. Okay? All of the good things, forgotten. All of the bad things they did, forgotten. What they went through, the nightmare, the hell on earth that they went through. It's all news. It's all news. It's forgotten. Okay? This is another way for you to enlighten yourself. Okay? Again, you shouldn't take this as some sort of negative thing that should make you sad when you realize that, your little life is insignificant, irrelevant. In the grand scheme of things, well, that should be, again, that should be empowering. Why were you so worried about in the first place? Why were you so bothered and troubled? Huh? We're all ants in the grander scheme of things, not even microbial. Okay? And everybody's just so anxious, so troubled, worries, and they're so, they're just so tense that they even start fights and go bananas and go overboard just because they want to deceive themselves that they are important and they matter. Haven't you met these people who just, you stop and you talk to them and they just say, let me tell you, I've done things in my life, Sonny. I've done things and I've accomplished things. I'm an important person. I'm respected in my community. At my job, I'm the best. And I'm like, yeah, so what? Who cares? So? And? Don't you understand that you're gonna disappear one day and it will be inconsequential? This great person that you think you are, you think that people will just weep forever because you disappeared, you died. It won't be so, folks. You will disappear, and the moment they put you in the ground, you're gone. Your memory is over. Your loved ones will not remember you. I've seen this. Quite recently. Somebody I knew died, and she was a good person. She had her faults. She was an older person, but from what I understand, she helped a lot of people. And she helped a lot of people that were undeserving. Okay, they were undeserving, but she helped them anyway. And after she died, well, guess what? Life moved on. The world moved on. Humanity moved on. Everybody she helped Most of them didn't even call to say, oh boy, she died. Most of the people that she helped didn't come to the funeral. Most of the people that she helped, selflessly, they forgot about her. They forgot about what she did for them. They don't talk about her. Her name is not even mentioned in any discussion whatsoever. Maybe her name will pop up somehow by some accident, but that's about it. Okay? So if you think that you're somebody, that people just think about you constantly, that people just obsess over you, you are sadly mistaken. People have their own lives, they have their own problems, they have their own hardships. Okay? And doesn't matter what good things you do for them out of compassion and whatnot, it will go away. It will be forgotten. It will vanish, just like all of us will vanish. Okay? And again, I'm making this disclaimer again because even though I make these disclaimers, I keep getting comments, people trying to tell me what's what, right? Listen, disclaimer. Yet again, I repeat myself. This should not be taken in a negative way. If you're a bit younger, let's just say it like this. If you're a bit younger and you're watching this video, please don't interpret what I'm saying as just this nihilistic, misanthropic, negative type of thing that I'm trying to, don't assume that I'm trying to influence you in a negative way so that you'll be sad and miserable. I don't care about any of that, right? I'm trying, if I'm trying something, I'm trying to maybe help a couple of people so they don't waste their time on silly, goofy nonsense like I have. And I guess this is the purpose of my channel, really, of these kinds of videos, is because I'm making these videos because I was that person. I was that person that worried all the time. I was that person that was always bothered and troubled. I was always serious. I was always anxious all the time. And I thought that I was missing out, and I thought I was so important, and I was a special somebody, and I thought people, they loved me, and I thought people cared about me, and I thought that I mattered in their lives. And let me tell you, I had to accept the fact that all the people that I thought cared about me, I had to accept that they didn't give a shit about me. And that helped me. That liberated me from a lot of suffering. Okay? This video is not about negativity. This is not about nihilism or, relativity. Okay? Everything is futile, but that should not impact you negatively. You see, the fact that I understand and embrace that everything is futile, that gives me joy because I don't have to worry all the time. Not anymore. Okay? This is the true, the true enlightenment here. Because everything is futile, meaningless. It doesn't matter. I don't worry. I don't stress out. I don't get all anxious. I sleep like a baby after a lifetime of chronic insomnia. I am not haunted by demons anymore. I used to be suicidal at 14, 15. Okay? Because I thought I was a special somebody, and I was just so furious that things weren't going my way. I was not fulfilled. So I kept insisting that I had things that I deserved, and I chased them for years. And sometimes I succeeded, and wouldn't you know it, I was still miserable for some reason. And then it finally happened after a lifetime of misery. After a lifetime of misery, I just looked at my life and myself, and I just said, one of these days, I'm just gonna die. And it will not matter to anybody. See, I'm a nobody, folks. And that is so amazing. I'm overjoyed. This is bliss for me. See, the fact that nobody cares about me, nobody thinks about me, that I'm a nobody. That the fact that I can be left alone in peace and quiet, that is paradise for me. You know, when I realized that nobody will even shed a tear after I'm gone, I was healed. Okay, I was revitalized. I was resurrected from the dead. Okay, because a long time ago, I used to be a stupid teenager who thought that if he committed suicide, he thought that, oh boy, everybody that knew him were gonna just despair because such a young life was cut so short. How wrong I was. How naive and ignorant. Okay? I should have realized when I was just another stupid kid that nobody cared. So, listen. Nobody cares about you in the grander scheme of things. You're not important. None of us are. And that's the beauty of it. Okay? If you think that your enemies are thinking about you and conspiring against you 24/7, they're just so jealous of you. They're so envious of you, and they want to plot your downfall. They're simping for your demise. You need to wake up. People, and I'm not saying that there aren't people like this. There are some crazy people out there, but they're rare. Okay, crazy people to that extent who just live on hate, they're very rare. Okay, so most people in general, have their own lives to live. They are worried, just like you are. They are troubled and bothered by the same silly nonsense that you are. Okay? They have their hardships. They have their obstacles in life. They have their families. They have their children. They have their bills. They have their taxes. They have their rent. They have their leases. And God knows what else. And they're working probably 2.5 jobs. And they're still not making even. Okay? They have their own problems. Just like you. And all of you are just in a circle, holding hands and just suffering in agony for no reason whatsoever. All of this, every single day that you were on the brink of losing your mind and just on the brink of being shattered by the hardships of all of that will go away because it was nothing at all. Okay? It doesn't matter and it won't matter. Okay? This is the great realization of life, of you, of your life, of you as a person. Again, this should be taken in a positive way, folks. We're all gonna die one day, and it won't matter. Isn't that just great? Because then you have to ask the question, what was I so worried about all this time? My job, my relationships, my bills, my salary, my neighbors, my this, my that. Okay? It should put things in perspective. Okay? Life is worth losing, as George Carlin used to say, and it's so right. What are you so, I don't know, scared about? What are you so, and of course, you shouldn't be engulfed by despair and just lose your mind and just say, we're all gonna die. Let's commit crimes. No. You should grow from this. This is the remedy, folks. This should heal you. This is the alm or the balm that should make you whole. Okay, this should complete you as a person. It is a philosophy, a simple one, that should clear your mind. Okay, should clear your mind. Think about all of the ancient civilizations. Who knows how many hundreds of millions of people back thousands of years ago. some of those civilizations are completely gone. Nobody knows that they even existed. All of those people, all of their wars, all of their, all of their problems, all of their conquests, all of their political machinations. Okay, their dust has vanished. Doesn't matter. Forgotten completely and utterly. Okay? Listen, folks. Because I'm human like everybody else. Sometimes, because the human condition is, as such. Sometimes I maybe be a bit under the weather. Sometimes I'm blue. Sometimes I'm a bit sad for no reason. I just wake up that way. Who knows, right? These things happen on occasion to everybody, right? So on the rare occasion that I'm not feeling too positive, you know what I do? I go online and I watch this old footage of people back in the day. Let's just say, the footage of a street corner somewhere in the world of, let's say, around the year 1902, for example. And you see all of these well-dressed people, men and women and children. You see them going to their jobs. You see them just walking about, having a walk with their friends, chatting. They're so, some of them are enthusiastic. Some of them are extremely serious. Some of them are going to meet somebody. Some of them are a bit sad, and they want to explain some of their troubles to a friend. They want to vent. And all of them that morning in the year 1902, they got up, they washed, they prepared their outfits, they talked to their family members, they did all of the routine of their lives. And then they went out, and on that street corner in the year 1902, they were filmed. And all of them, whether they were beggars in the street or whether they were just of the working class or whether they were rich people, all of them had their own problems, had their own worries, had their own happinesses. And all of them, no matter who they were, no matter to what group they belonged, all of them without exception, they thought still that they were somebody important. They thought that they were somebody. They thought that they would leave an impact on society, on people. They thought that they would be remembered for their quality of a person. They thought that they were smart. They thought that they were beautiful. They thought that they were disciplined. They thought they were loved and admired. They thought that because of their achievements, people were in awe of them. And you know what happened? I watched these old videos. 1902, for example, on a street in Paris. And I watch all of these people in black and white, and I watch these videos to remind myself, all of these people, they disappeared. One day they disappeared. And their children disappeared. And their grandkids died. And maybe even their great-grandchildren are old and sick and dying in the year 2024, more than 100 years later. Nobody remembers their names. Nobody remembers how they died, when they died. Nobody remembers their funerals. Pretty much all of the paperwork with their signature has disintegrated. All the people that knew them died. All the people that came after them died. All the couple of generations that came after them died. All of them disappeared and were forgotten. So what are you so worried about? Because this is the summary of this video. See, I watch those videos on occasion, rarely, to remind myself that I have nothing to worry about. All of those extremely egotistical people and all of those bitter, embittered, spiteful people, all of those hateful people, and all of those, downtrodden and poor and sick and just disappointed people, all of them all of them thought that the universe was against them. All of them thought that they had enemies who were plotting 24/7 because out of jealousy. Or some of them thought that they were really blessed by God or by karma or by random chance, and all of them met the same end, the same conclusion. They disappeared. They vanished. Nobody remembers. Nobody cares. And that's fine and dandy. As far as I'm concerned, that is the greatest thing ever. Because it should uplift you. It should educate your brain to understand, comprehend, and accept futility for what it is. See, I'm not a negative person. I'm not a nihilist. I'm just, not even a misanthrope. Not really. I'm a realist. Okay, I'm a realist, and I accept, reality for what it is. I accept the facts, the truth. Okay, and ever since I have accepted this fact that one day I will disappear, die, and it will not matter. Nobody will care. It's just, all of these expectations just stopped being, okay? And this will not, degrade you as a person. You will not regress as a person because of this. Okay? It should make you a better person. It should make you a more mature person. Okay? You will be equipped with the maturity to face, your own demise whenever it happens with some sort of dignity. Okay? So, I guess I made this video because for a lot of years now, I've been looking around people and they just, they don't understand. They think that what happens here in the world, in this simulation reality farm, whatever it is, they think that what happens here is serious business, and they think that they are engaged in serious business. And for some reason, they're always so agitated. There's always this unsettling commotion, and all the while, I've just been chilling for years. And let me tell you, because I have accepted this, that I will disappear and nobody will care and I'll be forgotten, it has improved my life 1000%. Because I don't chase wealth, I don't care about fame and all of this thing. I don't have jealousy because I don't care. I have now attained what all of us need in life. This is the element that we need in life to be not necessarily happy, but at peace. Or I should say, we should be tranquil. We need peace and quiet. And if you can attain a loving partner, then you are set for life. You're Gucci. You're blessed by the heavens. What more do you need? You have enough to eat, you have a roof over your head, and you have somebody that loves you. And it's quiet and it's peaceful, and nobody's knocking on your door. You're set for life. You're a god. What more do you want? You're a champion. Okay? You're a champion. Live like one in peace and quiet. Okay? So this is it. This is it. Peace and quiet, folks. Okay? Listen. Children get animated, they get overexcited, animated, whether it is positive emotion or negative, because they're children. They don't know better. They don't have any experience. They're ignorant. Okay? But adults should know better. Adults should act their age. Okay? All of these people, they get into fights and they go and they get shit-faced at clubs and at parties in order to feel something, in order to experience some sort of thrill, some sort of excitement, because they imagine wrongly that they're missing out on something. They imagine that otherwise, if they do not act desperately, they imagine that they have become failures and they have failed at life and that they are losers. It isn't so. You see, when I was younger, I used to think all of these monks, all of these sages, why did they go, to forests? And why did they go to caves to meditate for years? It wasn't because, they were detaching themselves from society and all of the material wealth and what have you. They were preparing themselves, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, for the fact that one day they will cease to be. This was their mission in life, to prepare themselves internally to deal with the fact that they were just another drop of water in the ocean, and that's about it. And this is what I say, you are born alone, you live alone, you die alone. Everything in between all of that, it's sheer nonsense, okay? It's a delusion. And again, just because we are mere drops of water in a bottomless ocean, that should not be depressing. That should not make you sad. That should empower you to chill out. That should empower you to just live peacefully. Okay? If happiness is just a pipe dream that cannot be attained, tranquility and serenity can be attained, folks. You don't need wealth. You don't need fame. You don't need a clique of people. You don't need to go out. You don't need to do all of the silly activities that most people do. Okay? This video should empower you. This idea should empower you. Should relieve you of your stress and anxiety. This is what this video should do. Don't look at everything so negatively, you see. Because listen, I watch a lot of channels that speak the truth about, life is just, it's just a 9-to-5 grind. It's a slave system, blah, blah, blah. All of the good shit, which is true. That life is a matrix, a simulation, and we're all slaves here and nothing matters. That's perfectly correct. But what bothers, I should say, it doesn't bother me. It just seems off because all of these people who tell the truth, they're just so defeated. They're just so down. They're just so, I wouldn't say depressed, but they're just so monotone, monotonous. They're flaccid. They're hunched over. They don't have any energy. They're just defeated by life. And even more importantly, they are defeated by the truth that everything is a big fat joke that does not matter. And I'm just like, to me, that's the funniest thing ever. It's like, I like that. Life is a joke and only money matters, and et cetera, and you're judged based on your looks and your essence as a person, your competence, your intellectual competence is, neglected because you look funny or whatever. I like that. It proves to me that this is indeed this reality isn't real. It's based on things that logically should not be here. It proves to me that life should not be taken seriously. See, I laugh at life, When I don't succeed at things, I'm just so chill. And when I succeed, on the rare occasions that I succeed, I don't go berserk. I'm chill. Because I know that all of this is lame. So why would I be bothered? Why would I be stressed? Okay? So I guess this is about it. Okay? I just feel so sorry for all of these channels who speak the truth, like Benedictive Truth and, life is a prison and 9-to-5 corrupt system or whatever. All of the channels and many more. I love these channels, but these people who speak the truth are just so down. They're just so flaccid. They have been defeated by the truth. Okay? They're somber. They are deflated because the truth is that nothing really matters and everything is superficial, artificial, and they are alone because people don't share in their in their thinking process. And, they're a bit depressed, I guess. Not me, though. I used to be. When I embraced this, I just became so happy is not the word. I'm just chill, okay? I'm just chill. All of this, folks, all of this will cease to be. You think that all of these great capitals and cities of the world, New York, the Vatican, London, Paris, and what have you, Berlin, you think this is it. This is here. This is where society be popping. Let me tell you, it will all go away. It will all be forgotten. Everything that happened will not matter. It will disappear completely. And so shall we. So I guess the message of this video should be, just calm down. Calm down. You know why I'm making this video? Let me tell you. And this is how I'm going to end it. I'm making this video because I wish somebody told me all of this when I was your age, when I was younger and naive and stupid. Because when I was younger, I took everything seriously. I thought all of this was just wow. I thought I was somebody. And I thought that I had to impose myself and be assertive and oh boy, and do all of the things. Right? And accomplish all of that. Right? I wish somebody would have told me all of this. I wouldn't have wasted the best years of my life, the prime of my youth, on silly, goofy nonsense. Okay? I wish I would have stumbled on a video like this. I wish somebody would have told me, you will disappear completely, and you will be forgotten and nobody cares. And that's all right. That's all right. So, this truth should enlighten you. It should heal you. And if you have the right perspective and perception, not negative, embrace it positively with maturity and clarity, it should just relieve you of all of the poison and toxicity that society puts on you. All of the expectations, all of the corrosive, corruptive, all of that poison and venom that society just puts on you, all of that, it should go away. You should be relieved. You see, now, because I have bad days like everybody else. At work, whatever, some dodo brain at the fucking grocery store thinks he's a smart ass, whatever. I look at all those things now and I react to them in a like they're laughable, like they're nonsensical, preposterous, gobbledygook. I don't know what to say. It's laughable. I don't get upset. I'm just like, I'm gonna leave now. You can miss me with that nonsense, right? And all these people, listen, and I'll leave it at that. Once in a while, I go to the store and there's a line and the cashier just is, is moving slowly and all of the people in the line are just going insane. They lash out, they scream, they yell. I want to speak to your manager. You know what I do? I put my groceries back on the shelf and I get the hell out of here. And while I'm going away, I'm laughing because I see all of those people and they're just so invested and immersed in this silly thing called life. They think that the cashier should have cared and the cashier should have noticed that people are getting a bit irritated, and because they care so much, they're so invested, they're so serious about all of this nonsense. They think they matter. This is the problem. They don't realize that they're gonna die one day. One day they're gonna disappear and nobody will care. Okay, so whenever something like this or similar, this is just an example. Whenever the silly usual stuff happens that's a bit obnoxious, I usually laugh at it, and if I can, I'm gonna skedaddle, okay? Because I got better things to do. And one of the most important things that I do, folks, is I love to sleep. Sleep is God, okay? But that's about it. If you enjoy this content, if you want to support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. If the link doesn't work for you, you can search my name, Griffith Samsara. Thanks for watching. See ya.